after the server IP address, we can check the endpoint and see if it's good. We can verify the header. We can check the response body. We can also check the status and the response time. Automation testing with Postman. So to do automation testing with Postman, we can create environment variables. We can do data-driven, which is we can write our own data, and then in Excel, then we can take it to Postman, and we can also run it. We can run those data. We can connect it with Postman and we can run it. So we can also monitor the collections, and we can use snippets. So snippets are like small JavaScript codes that we can use. So it's built in, so we can use that from Postman. And we also have packages. Packages are also built-in codes that we can use in Postman. So now I'll just go over the Postman and Swaggr and show you guys what we do as a QA tester. So first thing, this is the Swaggr. So this is the Swaggr URL. So from here, we can see all the APIs. So for example, this is one of the APIs. And if I click on it, I can see try it out. That means I can input the data and check it before taking it to Postman. So this is the request body. So request body is where we put our own data and see if everything is working or not. So these are the responses. So we can also, responses is basically, their codes, like you can see right here, 201. That means when we put correct data, so if everything is good, it's going to show that user, for example, for that API, so we can see that user is successfully registered. So that means we put the right email and username, we put the different username. For example, in this case, it says create FFM platform administrative user. So for that, the email address and the username cannot be the same. So when we have different users, they cannot have the same email and same username. So in that case, if we from the responses, we can see the code and we can tell if we registered it correctly or not. So for example, the 400. So if we put anything wrong on the request body, for example, if a user is already registered with an email, and if I try to use that email, I cannot do that. It's going to give it's going to throw in 400 code on the response. So so from that, I can tell that something is wrong with my input and I need to change it. Also, we have another code, which is 500. So if we see 500, that means we're not getting the data from the server. So nothing is wrong from our end. It's the server that's throwing an error. So this is what we have. This is how the Swaggr looks like. And in Swaggr, we can also try it out. So before taking it to Postman, we can just try out. We can post some data and try out and see if it's working or not. For example, if I just if I give an email and if I pick a username. So for this, as we know, password, first name and last name, they can be the same, but each user has to have different email and username. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's going to throw the 400 code. So for that, the password, the first name and last name, I'm just going to leave it like it is. And I'm just going to, for the username, I'm just going to put some random letters and numbers just to see if it works or not. So I can execute it right here. So from here, I can see that this is, for example, this is 500. So that means the server is throwing an error. So our information, our data is right, but the server is throwing an error. So we can execute it like this. And after executing, we can, to take it to Postman, what we can do, we can, from the curl, we can just copy the curl from here by clicking on this, this button right here. We can copy it and then we can take it to Postman. So what we can do, the first thing we do on Postman, we create a workspace. So a workspace is where we usually do our work. So in the workspace, we create our collections, we create folders, we do positive testing and the negative testing. So first thing I'll do, I'll just create a workspace. I'm just going to name it. Once again, I'm going to click on create workspace, and I'm going to now name my workspace. So I can name my workspace anything. So I'll just do FFM authorization. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. We can put summary if we want to put summary, but we don't have to. And the visibility is if we want to share it with the team, or we can work on it personally, then we can then share it with our team. So I'm just going to click on personal. And after that, I'm going to create the workspace. So this is our workspace. So from here, the first thing we do, we create a collection. So to create a collection, we just click on the plus icon right here. So after that, we have to name our collection. So the collection name is basically the feature name. So what is a feature? Feature are like when we have a few of the user stories combined, we can refer to them as a feature. So bunch of user stories, we can just call them a feature. So I'm just going to rename the feature name. So feature name and the user story names, we can find them from the project management tool. For example, TFS, or we have Jira. We can find the collection, the feature name and the user story names from there. I don't have access to it as of now, so I'm just going to just make up a name for the collection. So collection name has to be the name of the feature name. So this way we can track our folders, so we know what we're working on. And if someone else, if we export our project or folders to someone else, another teammates, then they can look at the folders and they can understand what I try to do. So it's very easy to maintain. So that's why for the collection name, we give it as a folder name, feature name. So for that case, I'm just going to put, I'm going to put authorization and authentication. So this is our collection. And after that, I'm going to create another folder. And this folder, we have to name it based on our user story. So inside a collection, we can have a bunch of user stories. So just to understand which user story we're working on, we have to name it based on our user story. So we can just copy this from the project management tool, TFS or Jira. So for example, this is an example that was shown in the class. So I'm just going to copy this. I don't have access to the project management tools. So for example, it's going to be like this. It's going to have the user story number. Then it's going to have the name of the user story. So for example, FM, OT, member should be able to create another FFM OT member. So this is a user story. So inside, so after we create the give the name of that folder as the user story, we create two folders to do our positive and negative testing. The first folder I'm going to add, I'm just going to name it positive. So as you guys can see, I just right click here and then I click on folders. So that means it's going to be under this folder right here, user story 310. So after I create the positive folder, I have to create another folder, and I'm going to rename it to negative. So that means all my positive tests that I do is going to be here, and all the negative tests are going to be here. So positive tests are basically, for example, I showed in Swaggr, for example, this, right? If I like put, for the positive testing, every person has to have different email and different username. They cannot have the same email or username. So if I put the correct input, so if I put the correct data, for example, different email and different username, this is called positive testing. We're putting the information as we're supposed to do. So if I like put an email that's already taken or someone else's email, I cannot log in. This is negative testing. So we have to see, like, we have to do positive testing and negative testing. Also, for example, if I just don't put anything for the username, I shouldn't be able to create this user, right? Because there's no username. So this is an example of positive testing and negative testing. So we can do that testing on Postman. So first thing we do, we copy the crawl command, and after that we go to Postman, and then we have to import it. To import it, we click on import, we go to row text, and we can just paste the curl. So if we paste the curl, it has, see, same thing right here. This is the endpoint, and this is the IP address of the server. So this is the IP address of the server, and this is the endpoint. So it just like copies everything, and we don't have to manually do anything. So I'm going to save it now. So I have to give it a name. The name has to be meaningful. So we can just go to Swaggr and see Swaggr already has a name. So we can just copy this and then just paste it there. And then we have to mention like which folder we want to save this request to. So I'm just going to click on the user story. I'm going to save it on the positive folder. So I'm just going to click save. So after save, I can go to the body, and I can click on beautify. Okay, so now I can run this. So if I run it, see, the message is given that the user already exists. Remember on the Swaggr, I already put this email in the username, so that's why it's not going to work, and the status is fail. So to do manual testing on Postman, we can look at the body, we can look at the cookies. So cookies are basically information that a website takes from the users. So those are called cookies. And we can also check the headers. So headers comes from the server. So we can just check the, for example, the date, the server information, and stuff related to the server. And the test result, test results are when we go to tests, we can create, these are the snippets that I was talking about. Those are JavaScript codes that are built in. So we can use those, and we can, whatever, for example, if I use this one right here, let me use a snippet just to show you guys how it works. So for example, the status code is 200, right? So since the user already exists, I can just put, for here, I can just put user already exists. And the code can be 400. So now if I try to run it, see on the test result, I can see that the user already exists. So this is what we can do, like with snippets. So those codes are already built in. We can just use those codes if we want to verify anything. So also, what we can do, with Postman, we can write documentations. So for example, for this one, for positive testing, I have to put, let me go to the body. For the positive testing, I have to put email. So I'm going to put an email, a unique email. It cannot be, for positive testing, like I said, we have to put the correct information. Negative testing, we can mismatch, we can put wrong email, we can put email that's already been registered or username that's already been registered. So for the email, I'm just going to put a random email and see if it works. And password, first name, last name, it can be same. A person can have the same password, first name, last name, it doesn't matter, but the username has to be different. So let me just put this is the username, and then I'm just going to run it and see what happens. Before that, I'm going to, since we're doing the positive testing, we can go to the tests. And since the information should be correct, the data that we put, the email should not match with anyone else's email that has been registered. The username should be unique. So for the on the snippets, the status code 200, we can just put user. We can put, this is a message that we can give, so we can like understand. We can look at the test result and see that message if it passes. So we can say user already, user successfully registered. And the status code has to be 201. So that means if we get 201, that means our input is right. Our input on the body is right, and we're going to get that that 201 code right here, right here. See, this is the 400 bed request because before we tried to run it with the user that already exists. And this, we can see also, this is the time it takes to get the message. So this, we also have to check the time, because if it takes long time, and if it like, for example, if it takes 4 or 5 seconds, and while it's supposed to be like loading within few milliseconds, then this is a bug, and we have to also report that. So we also have to check the time just to make sure if it's working correctly or not. So yeah, so this is the test. So I've used the snippet. So, and I changed the email and to a unique email and a unique username. So let's run this and see if it works. See, so the message changed. It said successfully registered admin user Niloy, and the status is success. And if we go to test results, we can see that user successfully registered, which is the message I put right here. And the code right here matches with this one right here. So yeah, so for manual testing, we can also write documentations. So we can click right here and then view documentation. And here I can write my documentation. So if any of my teammates, they want to see what happened, if it passed or failed, they can easily check it from here. So for that, we have to mention a few things. The software engineering name. So in our case, it was Shahed Mahbub, I think. So I'm just going to write his name. The product owner was, for short, we can just put PO. So that means product owner. So we can say Pronto Mazumder. And tester, I can just put my name. Okay, so now we have to mention the objective, the expected result, the actual result, and the test status. So in this case, the objective was as a FFM OT member should be able to create another FFM OT member. So that's what we wanted, right? That was our objective. So as a FFM OT member, we should be able to create another FFM OT member. So the expected result is the result that we're expecting. So the expected result can be like the same thing as the objective, because it's basically the same thing with the objective and expected result. We should be able to create another FFM OT member, and the actual result is where we have to mention, like, did it actually work or not? Like, did it fail, or like, were we able to create another FFM OT member? So actual result is where we mention, like, were we able to create it, or were we able to we couldn't create it. FFM OT member. So as I would say, as a FFM OT member was able to create another FFM OT member. And then we have to mention the test status. So for on the test status, we just mention if it's passed or failed. So in our case, it passed. So I'm just going to say pass. So then I can just save it. So if later on, if someone else looks at my looks at this folder or this project, they can easily understand, like, what happened. Did it pass or did it fail? So this is how we do test documentation. So now I'm going to talk about the negative testing, we can just duplicate this and we can just take it to the negative folder. And here for the negative test, we can do the same thing, but instead of putting the correct email address and the username, just this username, email and username, I think already exists. Let me check. Yeah, so this email and username already exists. So if I just try to run it, it's going to fail because this user already exists. So this is an example of negative testing. And negative testing also there are a lot of ways to do negative testing. For example, not putting any email address and then trying to run it. So there's a message called through one message, which is email must be non-empty. So this is also an example of negative testing. So you also username, we could just delete the username and leave it empty and then try to run it. It's going to throw an error. See, status is failed. So this is an example of negative testing, and we can also write the test documentation the same way we wrote it on for the positive testing that we just did. So let me just do this. Okay, so these are part of the manual testing that we do. But for automation testing, what we can do, let me give you an example. So for the automation testing, we can create variables. So variables are basically certain information. For example, this IP address right here, if it changes in the future, then, and if we have a bunch of requests right here, or if we have a bunch of requests, like 100 of requests, it will be very hard to change the manually all those IP address, right? So for that, we can just create a variable, and in that variable just a name, and inside that name, like we can input this information. So we can save this information in that variable, and we can just call that variable instead of that information. So if in the future, if the information changes, we can just update the information on the variable, and it's going to automatically change all the information on the rest of the project. So let me show you guys how we can do that. So to do that, what we have to do, we have to create an environment. Let me create an environment. So there are 3 to 4 types of environments, but as a QA tester, we basically we basically are connected with the testing environment and the staging environment. And there are other kind of environments such as production, which we do not do anything with it. So as a QA tester, we're mainly focused on staging and testing. So I'm just going to name it this environment test staging environment. And this is the variable that we have to, so this is the variable, so we have to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it base URL, and then the value. The value I want to give is this right here, this server IP address. So I can just copy this, and on the staging, created so many folders. Okay, so right here, I can just put the value. This is the initial value, this is the current value. So I can then just save it. So after saving it, I can go back to the request, and now instead of using the IP address, to call the IP address, we have to put 2 curly braces, 2 open curly braces and 2 close curly. We have to then close the curly braces, and then inside the curly braces, we have to mention the variable's name. So the variable name is base URL. So we're not using this information anymore. We're just using the variable name. So later on, if the team decides to change the IP address, we can just update it right here instead of like manually changing them throughout the project. So I'm just going to call them right here. So base URL. So after calling it, if I then run it, let me try to run it. So if I run it, so it did work, even though it showed like user already exists, because we know this user already exists because we already use this email and username, but the IP address did work. So this is an example of how we can create a variable. Okay, now another automation that we can do in Postman is that we can, instead of like email address and username, we can like, instead of typing them, we can just we can type them in our Excel. For example, this is the data that I have already created. So the email address, the password, the first name, last name, we can create those before, and then we can just call it on the Postman and we can also run it. So it's going to automatically run all those inputs. So before that, let me show you guys how to run the collection. So if I want to run this collection, so there's another thing I want.
Hey, Api, do you know how to use the randomize function?
Yeah, I'm going to show that right now.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Keep doing.
Okay, so so there's a package. So in Java, I mean in Postman, so it's already built in, and from that we can just create, like, we can generate random email, random password, random first name, last name, or username. So to do that, we have to.
One of the Node.js, the package is called the Faker.js.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so to use it, we have to create two curly braces, then we close them, and inside that we have to type the $, then we have to type random, and we can do email. So it's going to generate random emails, so we don't have to manually type them. So for the password, we can do the same thing. So we can just put $, random password. Oh, we can do that for the first name. Random first name. We can do random last name. Then we can do random username. Okay, so now instead of like typing all those information, it's going to generate random email, random password, and random username. So we don't have to manually type those. So let me run it just to check. See, successfully registered admin. This is a random username. So if I again try to run it, it's going to provide another random email. I mean, it's going to like create random email, password, first name, last name, and the username for another user. So this is what we can do. This is also another way to do automation testing. So after that, I was trying to show the data-driven.
And basically, if you do this, then you do not need to do the data-driven, because through this, it is driving each time it is creating each time the new user and the information. Yeah, go ahead. Do the data-driven, please.
Okay. Before doing the data-driven, let me just run the collection to show how we can run the collection. So to run the collection, we can click on these three dots right here near the collection name, and we can click on, let me see, we can click on run collection, and here we pick which collection, I mean, which request we want to run. And this iteration means how many times we want to run it. So if I put 3, that means I want to run it 3 times. The delay means after it runs once, do we want to stop for like few seconds or milliseconds, and then we want to run it again. So I'm just going to put 3000. So 3000 milliseconds, that means 3 seconds. So it's going to stop for 3 seconds, and then again it's going to run. So it's going to run 3 times. So let me run it. So yeah, as you can see, pass, because we put the random email and the username. So it's going to always show pass. And this message right here, this is what I have written on the test right here. So if we didn't have the snippets, then it would not show any message. So that's why we can use the snippet, and we can write this message right here. So yeah, this is what we can do. This is part of the test automation. And also, like I was saying, we can do data-driven. So let me go here, and let me again try to run the collection. And now, let me run it once. I'm going to delete Okay, I don't need to delete. Or I can run it. Okay, let me run it 3 times. I'm gonna delay it 3 seconds. And now this file, right? This is on Excel. On Excel, but when we save it, we have to save it as a CSV. So CSV, we have to run. We have to save it as CSV, otherwise it's not going to work. So I've already saved it. Sorry, I don't know why it's closed. Yes. Yeah, so these are the so these are the inputs that I already wrote, and I can just connect it through Postman. So I can just select the file. So I'm just going to select the file that I saved. So I saved it in the data-driven folder. So data-driven, there's this file, the extension is CSV. So I can just click here. But before that, what we have to do, we have to connect it. And the way we connect this file, this CSV, the Excel file to the body is on the body, right? We have to put,
why not you just duplicate this, what is called, this request. So keep it as it is, create another like the
okay.
collection. Yeah, this is very nice.
I'm just going to duplicate it.
There you go. And bring it to the another collection if you need to. So, yep.
Okay. Yeah, so we can just mention it here. So the thing is how we connect it. For example, this one, the name, email address, password, first name, last name, username, on the 2 curly braces, it has to be exactly the same.
It's all variables, right?
Yes, all variables. So that's how we connect it. So we just mention the variable names. So this is email address. And we have password. First name. Last name and username. Just to make sure this is wrong. Email address, password, first name, last name, and username. Okay, I think this is right. Okay, so yeah, so right here, I can also preview this file just to see. So as you guys can see, email address, password, first name, last name, and these are the data that I just generated by myself. So I'm just going to close it and I'm going to run it. Okay, I'm just going to run it.
So now he ran from the automated test. Also, he ran the data driven. So this fully automated is done. Now it can completely go to the GitLab or GitHub. Then it can go to the CI/CD.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah. So now I can export. My requests. I can export it. So to export it, what we do, we just. I can export my collection. So to export the collection, I can click on the collection. Then I can do export, and then export right here. Click on the export. Then I can just save it on the file I want to save it. So for example, I want to save in the data-driven folder. So I'm just going to click on save, and it's been saved.
So many companies use the Postman Enterprise. In that case, you do not need to save it. They have the GitHub integration. So you just, it is already connected with the GitHub. Then of course, GitHub and the Jenkins is everything is connected and everything is in one place. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so so I also have created the environment variable, and I also need to save the export the environment variable. So to do that, I just click on this icon right here, and then go to edit, then click here, and also export it and save it on the data-driven folder. So this has been saved. So if I go to the folder, I can see that it's saved. So now I can run it on from my command prompt. Let me run this collection from my command prompt.
So give you like a quickly overview. What was the installation needed on this computer to prepare the environment?
Okay, so we had to download Node.js, and then we had to download Newman. So those two applications we had to download. But Node, we can just go to the website and download it. But for Newman, we can download it from the command prompt, which is npm install, then -g, then space Newman. And if you just click enter, it's going to download Newman. And after that, we can just check if we have downloaded Node and Newman by this code right here. So Node. So this is the version of the Node that I've downloaded. Then I can do the same for the Newman and check the version to see if I actually downloaded it correctly or not. So as you can see, it has been downloaded. Okay, so now what I can do, I can run the collection from the command prompt. To do that, first thing I have to do, I have to go inside the folder, the data-driven folder. So this folder is saved in downloads, and then I have to go to the data-driven folder. So CD, then downloads. So this is what we do when we want to go to a folder. So for example, I'm in the user's OP, that's my name. I'm right here. To go to downloads folder, I have to type CD, then download. So it's going to put me inside that folder. So I'm just going to do that. And after that, I have to go to the data-driven folder. So I do the same thing, CD, data-driven. So now I'm in the data-driven folder. And if I want to check the directories, I can just type dir and then click enter to see all the directories that I have. So like right here, I have the JSON files, and then I have the data-driven Excel file right here. So to run it, what we have to do, we have to type Newman run. Then we have to type the collection name. So the collection name is authorization and authentication. So I can just type it. After typing it, we can just press on tab, and it's going to type the whole thing instead of manually typing everything. So then to also mention the environment variable, we have to put dash E and then quotation. And here we also have to mention the name of the JSON file for the environment variable. So in our case, staging, staging. And if I just pressed on tab, it's going to just type the whole thing. So now if I just click on enter, it's going to run it. I think it's failed because the information for one of the folder, the information was already there. So
your Excel it already ran, right? From your collection runner, so it failed.
Yeah.
So which is expected. Yep. Thank you.
So that's why showing that failed. But the same thing, we can, instead of doing it on our local machine, we can take the collection to the GitHub, then we can run it on Jenkins. So now I'm going to show you guys how we can do that. So for that, we have to go to GitHub and we have to create a new repository. So to do that, we click on new, and then I have to name it. So I can name it anything. Just leave it like this. Okay. And then create repository. So now I can upload the files here, the JSON files for the collection and the environment variable. So I can just uploading an existing file, then choose my files. Then I can just choose these two files right here. After that, I can just commit the changes. And I can see the files right here. So now I'm going to go to Jenkins. And from that, I'm going to run the the collection. I'm going to run the collection in Jenkins by connecting it through with the GitHub. So the credentials for the Jenkins are given by the company. So I'm just using the one we were giving. So this is the one. So I'm just going to sign in. So we click on the new item and then we name it. So I'm just going to name it. This is what I just named it. So after that, we click on freestyle project and then press on OK. So now we can put description if we want to, but we don't have to. And then we have to select Git. Then we have to copy the URL. Let me move this. So we can copy the URL from here. Click on the code, then just copy it. Press this icon right here and set copied. So, and then we can just paste it there. And after that, we have to select our credentials. So to do that, I already have it, but if you guys don't have it, you can click on add Jenkins, then type your username here and password here, and it's going to like then show your credential for the GitHub. So I already have it, so I'm just going to select mine, which is right here. So then we have to mention the branch name. The branch is automatically set up to master, but as you guys can see, it's in the main. So I have to mention the branch name. So in our case, the branch is main. So I'm going to change it. Okay, change it. Then build periodically. So which means like if we want to run it after every 5 minutes or every 1 hour, 2 hours, we can do that. And to do that, we can just, they already provide us the codes to do that. So we can like just copy those. So for example, this is after every 15 minutes. So this is the code that we need. So we can just copy this input and paste it there. So if we want to build it after like a few hours or a few minutes, we can do that. So what I'm going to select, I'm going to under the build environment, I'm going to select the node and npm bin/folder to path. We need that to run it because we did the same thing on our CMD. We ran it with node and npm. So we have to select that. And after that, we under the build, we click the L build steps and we click on execute shell. And here we type the same thing we typed on the console. So Newman run, and then we have to copy the collection and the variable name. So I'm going to click here. This is the collection. So I'm going to copy the collection name. I'm going to go back, paste it, set a quotation, -e, then copy the environment variable file name. So which is right here. Copied, and I'm just going to paste it. Okay, so I think I'm good. I'm just going to save it. I'm going to apply and save it. So apply and save. Now I can build it. So to build it, I'm just going to press on build now. Okay, so it did build, but it's showing an error. So I can just click on it and I can go to console output to see. So yeah, it did build, but it's showing failed because we already have that input, the user input that I already had it on the Postman. So the same thing is showing the same thing as it did on the console that I ran on my local machine. So the same thing is showing here. So that's how we can put our files to GitHub and then run it on Jenkins instead of running it.
So if we just simply remove the what is called the second request where we put the data driven, then it will not fail anymore. So remove this, and then you can save it back. Then it should be all working fine.
Okay. I think I have to export it again, right?
Yep. So show them so they will see.
Okay, so I have to export it again. I'm just going to delete this collection. go back, sorry, go to Postman. Then I'm just going to export it again. So right here. So
you should go back to the, probably your, yep, you should come back here and upload again.
So yes, updated. Okay, now I can run it again. Go back. Same thing. Again. The credentials and same thing. Okay. It's the same collection because I just overwritten the other one. So it's the same thing, but it's just on the GitHub, it's going to show the commits that we made. If we want to see it, we can like see what we changed. See, I deleted this. So we can also see that on the GitHub. So I'm just going to run it. Apply. And then save. Now let me build it. Okay, so now we can see it didn't fail. So if I click here, if I go to console output, I can see that it passed.
Because each time this will run, because we use the Faker.js, so it's fully automated. The data will be created, randomized. So it is like the robust automation here.
Yeah, it's just random values and they're never the same. So
yep.
That's why it will never fail.
Very nice job, OPLS. So if you guys don't know, he said if he can do Wednesday, I gave him a push. I said, no, you cannot do that. So he was ready, but he was like feeling like just a little bit lazy. I said, it's not going to happen. Very nice job, very smooth. You guys can ask him a question now. And what he said, exactly the way we prepared our videos and we taught the same way. So he kind of, everything, to me, the demonstration was a plus. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? I can answer.
Yes, I have a question. First of all, it was very smooth and I was enjoying your execution. And second thing is, when you wrote user story, you wrote user story 310. How you get that number?
Yeah, I've already
randomly put that number. Remember, he said he does not have the access permission of the Git, the TFS or the Jira, but for the sake of like accuracy, he just put a number and he mentioned this number has to be from the Jira. Yeah. Remember, he said that.
So this is from the project management tools. So it's already there. I don't have access to it. So I just copied the one we were shown in the class.
Okay, I got it. And another question is, last time, like I was trying to build, our APM project, like one part through CI/CD by using Jenkins. But when I create the portion of GitLab, I couldn't do it, but you did. Can you just mention it? Is it possible to show it again or not?
What did you try to do, Nazneen? Can you explain me more details?
Well, I have a document from Sohim Bhai, and that document is basically Jenkins and CI/CD. So I was trying to build the GitLab portion through CI/CD pipeline, but I couldn't do it.
But the Sohis was from the DevOps point of view. So he did not build anything. He just prepared the design and developed the automation, also fully automate the process. And he brought his collection or the code in the GitHub, and then he just ran through the Jenkins. He did not do anything what you did. So you need to, if you are unable to follow the Sohi's documents, you need to see if Sohi is available. He can give you a walkthrough.
I mean, that would be great if it is possible.
শিবলু ভাই আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চন এখানে
Sure, go ahead.
এই এইটাই অটোমেশন পার্ট আরেকটা যে বলে রেস্ট অ্যাশোর্ড এটা কি অটোমেশন পার্ট না এটাও কি
That's fine. This also REST assured is a library you have to use from the Java, like the Eclipse or the IntelliJ, but the same automation is the automation. You have to write so much code because the library is not a tool. Postman is a tool. They have there so many snippet built in, like the Faker.js. That's the reason they're a professional tool. The REST assured is not a professional tool. It's a Java library you have to use to build the REST assured framework.
Okay.
Both are the framework, both are the automation, yes. And goal, you have done the automation, that's it.
So I think this way is better than other way. So far I know.
This way, that way. No.
Because there is lot to do.
Let me answer. Yes. Let me answer. If you only do the API automation, this is the best route. If
this is the best route I feel.
And the web automation, again, one more time. Listen one more time. If you do the API and the web automation, and you also automated way go to the database and verify in the database, then the programming language is the best route. The Postman cannot do that. Postman is a RESTful testing tool. It only can automate everything around the API. So it all depends based on the scenario, what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
We will probably show you next Saturday, like for the blog website. And hopefully, if not next Saturday, someday we'll be showing you our hybrid framework. It will create the API, then it will go to the database and verify the database that the API is created. Then it will go to the GUI and make sure that same user can log into the website. So that's actually the end-to-end, the API, GUI, and also touch the database. Means you are touching the application layer, you are touching the backend, you are touching the database.
Okay, so
today you cannot use the Postman.
Shivlu bhai, today workshop show and tell video are you going to upload on the portal or some?
It is already on the YouTube now.
On the YouTube.
It is
Getting hard to.
It's already live now. We are live now.
Is this any name on there?
1 second.
Can you put on the Slack if you can? This is the good best video will be.
Yes, I like it.
Everybody teaching different way.
I just put in the Slack. But I already told you guys 3 weeks ago that what he will do, he just he followed the steps, procedure, has taken time to absorb, and then he just copied and pasted word by word what I said in the video. That's all I can say. If somebody just manipulate my word, I can catch right away. So he did not manipulate any single word. He listened each of the word and he has taken time. Sometimes some of the video he has taken 4 hours to understand why I said that. What is the reason behind it? So that's the reason he can literally clone the whole thing. So he did not miss any process, any procedure, not the documentation, not the automation, everything he did very smoothly.
whatever you mentioned. Eh?
Yep, that's the way the video is made, and that's the way the video is on the portal.
Good.
Very nice job, OP. So what is the next coming? Are you going to do the Java? Oh no, you have a 2-part remaining. So he has he's still remaining. He will log into the database and to show you how to write the query against the test data, and he can verify on the database. That's called the test verification on the database. He can do 2-way from the Postgres admin. Also, he can log into the Linux server and to verify it. But we just do not allow the members. And then finally, he can do the Java. So, the OP, how is the Wednesday schedule? What are you planning to do?
I was planning if I can skip next week because I'm trying to catch up with the workshop videos. I'm a little behind.
All right,
And
so
then after
okay,
the next
so-
follow.
okay, sounds good. It's fine. I will take care of the Wednesday then, because we need to get a lot of the retrospective from the weekend. And you did not watch yesterday's boot camp, right?
Oh no, I was very busy. So I'm just trying to catch up with
I
everything.
highly recommend before you hit the job market, you need to finish the boot camp.
Okay.
Everything was given there, or everything was sequential. And not everybody can understand if somebody is like skipping here and there, but it will be like the gift for you. I can guarantee you. Okay, and then plus you will see the full automation there as well. All right, guys, any other question? Silence is golden. You guys can watch this. So, Nazneen, you had a lot of question about the Postman. So now you have learned the 5 tools. Very smoothly. You learned the Postman functionality, automation, manual, the collection runner, the parameterization, variables, environment variables, and the how to set up the Windows environment for the Node.js and Newman and run the Postman collection. You also saw the Swaggr.js, how you create the dynamic data, and then you saw how it has been taken to the GitHub and they integrate to the Jenkins and run it smoothly.
Yes.
So a lot of things has been covered in 1 hour very smoothly.
Yes.
শিবলু ভাই এখানে একটা কোয়েশ্চন এটাতে অ্যাড হইছে না, কমপ্লিট হইছে না একটু কারণে, যেটা হলো যেটা মনে করেন আপনার রিপোর্ট যদি এই যে টেস্ট কেস যেটা ফেল হইছে, রাইট, এটা একটা রিপোর্ট দেখাইলে আরো ভালো হইতো যে রিপোর্টটা কিভাবে ক্রিয়েট করা হয়।
It is completely report is fine. It is good report. 1 hour has been covered everything. We have the HTML report. We have a Newman report. You can just add the new variables. Newman has like a ton of like the parameters you can use to make the reporting robust. He got everything what he needs.
And then on the Jenkins, okay, I got you.
Yeah. The Jenkins is not doing anything. Jenkins has the plugin, and so in fact the Newman has a lot of parameters you can use to make the reporting.
So he report on the Postman, right?
This report from the Newman. Nothing run on the Postman anymore. It ran on our Jenkins server.
Yes,
Jenkins server is on the cloud, and remember he selected the shell. Shell means actually on the black screen on the Linux server, and the API you do not need any GUI. API it is headless, means you do not need to see it. It runs, and then it gives you the result. That's the beauty of the API, and that's the reason the automation is powerful when you do the API automation.
Okay. So just my question is like when he had a failed test case, right, on the Jenkins, if there any report for this or not? That's all I want to know.
It was failing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We can use the more parameter. We just did not use for the
Yeah,
sake
that's
of learning.
all I want to know. If
Yeah.
little be missing, so it's a complete process will be done. If he add little bit more, okay.
Okay,
Next time we will see.
sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. We will do something on Wednesday. So let me get back to the people. So what is Charlie? Charlie,
Ji bhai.
what is Jaman?
I don't know about Jaman, brother.
Did you guys try any other? Did you guys yourself try any other the FFM service to include? We already did two, because this Saturday all the FFM service will be done. The bare metal will be done, and then you guys will start the journey with the Docker.
We just follow the workshop videos because
Okay,
we're
all
waiting
right.
for the next workshop.
Sure. Okay, so next work of the remaining service will be done, all the bare metal, and then the two things will be coming: a Docker, virtualization, and Vagrant.
Cool.
So they will be coming for the local environment setup, and also the Dockerize the whole process. All right, I just wanted to check. And then tomorrow we are going to push the mock interview issues. So the issue was when you guys recorded, it becomes like what is called the 1 minute recording became 25 megabyte. So we implemented the gRPC, web gRP something. So that means if you record, it will be 1 megabyte. So it should be uploading very smoothly. Also, we are going to include the progress, so you can see when it is uploading. If it is not fully uploading, you will see. If it failed due to your internet, it will show you. And last but not the least, you guys can share your mock interview with your colleagues. Means the Shah Ali can share with Nazneen. Nazneen can share with Javed or Jaman. Anybody you can share, so they can listen and they can provide you feedback. So this will ensure you guys will be more engaged with one another and give one another constructive feedback. Okay? Before come to our end, you guys will be understanding yourself pretty well how everybody is doing with the mock interview. But I'm very happy that many people started. So it is going to be game changing. Any other question? So that will be deploying tomorrow.
Okay, I have one question about mock interview.
Sure.
When I completed all the mock interview, right? And
Oh,
after
by the
that,
way,
are you going to provide
I have a couple of feedback. I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
some of the question you just read the book. File, what is the file? I literally understood you read the book, and
Okay.
I do not like it. File.
Yeah.
Let me store the information. Can be the configuration, can be the text. 5-second answer should be done. A file.
I did it.
No,
I
you
did-
read the book. I can tell you. I can say, look, we have
Okay.
a.
No, just let me finish my question. Let me
All
finish. I said when I whatever I done, I know I didn't complete properly, right? Just I
Okay.
practice, and whatever I submitted, I want to know feedback from you. That's all I did. So
That's
next, no, I want to know if I complete all the mock interview. After that, are you going to provide us interview question? And
Yes. What do you
I
mean
mean,
interview question?
I mean a question and answer.
You guys want the
Oh,
answer?
I
Most
mean,
of the
yeah.
answer is already there. So remember,
Because
Lugna,
every answer.
remember
No,
Lugna
just
said most of
no,
the
no.
answer is from our own Linux module. It's an example.
Yeah, I saw that. I can do it. I can do it from there, but actually I didn't look at the answer from your. I mean, from portal. I did it myself. So that's all. That's why maybe a couple of them I made mistake. That's okay. I will improve myself next time. But I will follow also your documentation from the portal.
We are
Just
just
I want to
looking
know.
for the
Are you?
50%.
So you want
No, we're
no,
not.
hold on. Why?
We're not.
So you want me to collect the question and answer from the portal by myself?
No, that's not what I mean. What I said,
No.
with the
Okay.
question in the mock interview,
Yeah.
most of the question we prepared from the module we provided to you guys. You have
Right.
not done Linux properly, and that's the reason you may have the struggle. So to reference Lubna's statement, she said literally most of the Linux, the questions, it is from our module, what has been taught in the workshop. So we do not need to repeat to give you the answer, which is already there. The documentation is there, video is already there.
But how can I memorize all this stuff, you know?
You don't
How
have
can I
to
memorize? There is too many question answer. Yeah, because if I don't used to do every day same thing, how can I memorize that? It's impossible, I think.
Number one, you did not do the Linux properly. You were
Properly. What do you mean by properly? I did follow the process. That's it. What is the properly? Properly mean if you do continue, it will be easy for you. So far, I know.
Every mock interview you pass the 60%, you're good. 20%.
No, my question is just I want to know. Are you guys gonna provide me, or I have to collect so I can collect from now?
No plan yet. We do not have any plan yet.
Because if you give us, it is easy to, if you provide us, so we can practice and we can, if I have any question, doubt, so we can manage this. You
Probably
know?
later we can take as a note. I don't know if the team, I will ask Shahid what he says.
Yeah, because
if he says to provide the answer, we can do so.
Yeah. Because we can do is better. You guys know better how to provide the answer. We did ourselves some, right? Maybe not good. So if I get answer from you guys or note after that, or a couple months later, when I go to the field, so that time if you provide right now or later on, so we can practice this and also collect the information if they're necessary.
Sure. No, I think that many times that we do not ask the even Linux question in the interview. The whole part of the mock interview is you grow a habit to answer question, listen yourself, and you listen again how accurate you are understanding a question and you are answering to the point or the precisely. Like the Shadi, some of the answer he did in 6 seconds, 7 seconds, done. Because the question was like this, he answered 6 seconds, like no bubbling here and there. It's not like walk around or bushing around, just say the answer. So that's the whole purpose. Some of the question was.
So bhaiya, like আমাদের তো ভাইয়া সব কোশ্চেন গুলা মুখস্থ করতে হবে না, লাইক এগুলা তো ভাইয়া মোস্ট অফ দ্য কোশ্চেন আমি বলি আপনাকে, মোস্ট অফ দ্য কোশ্চেন আমাকে কিন্তু আস্ক করবে না এই ইন্টারভিউ। তো এটা আমাকে রিয়েল টাইম আমার প্রজেক্টের উপর বেস করে কোশ্চেন করবে।
That's why my question was for
আমি কুকন ভাইকে বলতাছি, সো আপনি ওইভাবে আপনার প্রজেক্টটা যেভাবে আপনি বিল্ড করবেন ওইভাবে আপনার কোশ্চেন গুলো আপনার মাইন্ডে রেখে নেবেন যে এইভাবে কোশ্চেন গুলো আসবে এই ব্যাপারে। সো আপনি ওই কোশ্চেন গুলাতে ফোকাস করবেন, সব কোশ্চেন গুলো তো আপনাকে মুখস্থ করার জন্য বলা হয় নাই।
ওটাই বুঝতে চাইতেছি।
For example, if I ask you a question, hey Kukunme, you have mentioned you have built like the PHP application. Walk me through your process. How did you do that? Did you build yourself or you just maintain the PHP application as what did you do? I will ask you the question. So that's how the interview approach. So if you go through the way you start with the database, then you prepare another server for the application, then you install the PHP. That's how we want to know.
Okay.
Then you can go, tell me some of the syntax you use. Did you do the dynamic? Did you use the SED or you just use how did you do? Or did you install in the local environment or you install the staging? How did you start? Did you start with the production or did you start the development environment? When we ask the question, we'll catch you right away. Make sense?
Okay. And no way by কেউ মুখস্থ করে আনসার গুলো বলতে পারবে স্টেপ বাই স্টেপ। I ওগুলো বললেই আপনাকে ধরে ফেলবে ইন্টারভিউ।
Because the follow-up question, you'll be caught up. If you try to memorize an answer, the follow-up question, you'll be done because you do not have any answer.
Okay. No, আমি এই জন্যই জানতে চাইতেছি, কারণ টু মেনি কোয়েশ্চন, এগুলা যদি আমি এভাবে শিখতে চাই তাহলে তো আমার এমনি শেষ। আর আপনি যেটা বলছেন এভাবে হইলে আমার আর কষ্ট হবে না, আমি এগুলা ডেইলি এগুলো আমি প্র্যাকটিস করবো, এগুলো আমার কন্টিনিউ মনে থাকবে। ওকে,
দ্যাটস গুড।
হ্যাঁ, এই জন্য আমি ক্লিয়ার হইলাম আগে যে যদি আপনি লাস্ট মুহূর্তে Right.
Good.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
so are you there? Let's see. So he is there.
जी भाई अस्सलाम वालेकुम
How's it going?
yeah it's good
That's good. Any tips for Kokunmia?
কি বলবো আমি বলবো আপনার ওইটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট যে যে কোশ্চেন গুলার আনসার জানা থাকবে না ওইটা কিভাবে কারণ যেটা জানবেন ওইটা কেউ শিখাই দিতে হবে না ওইটা এমনি বলতে পারবেন যে কোশ্চেনটা আপনি জানেন না ওই কোশ্চেনটা কিভাবে হ্যান্ডেল করতে হবে ওইটা শেখাটাও একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট থিং বিকজ ইন্টারভিউতে কিন্তু আপনারা 10টা জিজ্ঞেস করলে 10টাই যে পারবেন ওইটা না দেখা যাবে 4টা 5টা কোশ্চেন ওইগুলা আনকমন থাকবেই ওই কোশ্চেন গুলা কিভাবে হ্যান্ডেল করতে হবে ওই জিনিসটা মানে বুঝে পড়লে রাইট
Yes.
ওটা কিছু বলার সুযোগ থাকে
Okay. Thank you, bye.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. It was a very good session. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.